here and get us started. So thank you guys for being on here. I'm really want to try to start making these calls more consistent. And as our teams grow, please know that invite your coaches to be on here. I think that the more coaches we get on here, the more collaborative, the more informational it'll be. And I've got some people lined up who are going to be jumping on. I'm actually going to be going to Asheville on Wednesday. So I'll be with Michelle Wednesday through Friday and doing some brainstorming with her. And I think she's going to do a little video inside of Team Equip while I'm there. But working with her to kind of get some people lined up for these calls, and then just some more tools for you guys. And that's going to kind of be one of our main focuses, is just creating more things for my downline and my coaches. And then, obviously the trickle effect of things for your coaches. So it's going to be really awesome. I'm really excited. But today, in line with talking about coaches, I wanted to talk about why recruiting and inviting is a vital behavior. And so I know that recruiting, that word, is not like the vital behavior. It's actually invite. But we know that means recruiting new coaches, recruiting new challengers into your challenge groups, just constantly thinking about inviting. And really, at the end of the day, this is a relationship business. And I know I've said that to you, Patrice. We've talked about it a lot, but you have to constantly be inviting, constantly building new relationships if you want to be successful in this business. Now, all of us have different goals in this business, different places that we're at with it. But at the end of the day, we all want to be successful, and we all have goals within this business. Some of us want to be able to leave our full-time jobs. Hello, that's me. Some of us want to bring in extra income for our families. We have things, I was talking or listening on a call earlier, and one girl said, my goal with coaching is to make enough money that I can send my kids to Christian school and pay for that every month. And so everyone has different goals within this business. But I think that's the beautiful part of it. And so really, when we talk about recruiting, it's really about sharing those things and sharing those goals with people, and maybe figuring out what would their goal within that be. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So we're going to keep this, I'm going to try to be done no later than 12:30, because I want to just be respectful of everyone's time. But I really want this to, like I said, be an informational thing that you walk away with being okay, I feel like I can better attack recruiting. Because like I said, the way this business works, you will not be successful as a coach in terms of financially successful, in terms of growing your business, if you're not recruiting new coaches. And so, you can have amazing challenge groups every month, and you can have tons and tons of people, but if you never are bringing on new people onto your team, then it's going to be difficult for you to kind of keep the momentum going. Because at the end of the day, we all know that, thriving off of commission sales every month, it's kind of exhausting. To be okay, well, I have a goal of making $1,000 every month. Well, if you're only focused on doing that through commission sales, that's going to be exhausting, because you're going to have to sell a ton of challenge packs to get to that point. We right now with All Access Pass, we make $70 a challenge pack. So in order to make $1,000, you're looking at selling 12, 13 challenge packs, and that would be a lot. And so you really have to focus on growing your team if you want to hit those financial goals. And so the first thing first tip I have in thinking about recruitment and thinking about growing your business is to first understand the business structure. And I know that seems a little bit okay, well, how does that relate to recruitment? If you don't understand the business structure, if you don't understand why it's a good thing to be an Emerald coach, or why it's a good thing to be a Ruby coach, or why it's a good thing to be a Diamond coach and beyond, you're not going to really be able to set attainable goals for yourself, and you're not going to be able to explain the business to other people. And so if you come across a challenger who's really awesome and would make an amazing coach, it's going to be really hard for you to explain the business to them if you don't really understand the business yourself. And so my first thing that I would say is to understand the business structure. I come across coaches who are oh man, not coaches on my team, but just coaches who I'm friends with. And they're like, I just really don't understand this. Like, I don't understand, why would I want to be Emerald? Why would I want to, do this? What are team cycle bonuses? And, the thing that is really important is you need to make your personal development time, yes, we want to make it time that we're learning from outside sources, but also maybe you say, hey, for the next 2 weeks, my personal development time is going to be devoted to just figuring out the business structure and figuring out the ins and outs of how I can maximize my income within this business. And so maybe every time that you have your personal development, every day, whatever that looks like for you, if it's 10 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, whatever, maybe it's just watching a YouTube video about, why it's important to hit Emerald ranking, or why it's important to hit, Diamond ranking, or why it's important to be a team leader, or how can you maximize your income within this business? What about placement of different coaches in your downline? I think that sometimes we just write it off as it's really confusing, so I'll figure it out later. But here's the deal. If you're going to be successful in this business, you have to understand where you're trying to get to, right? And the thing is the first steps that you take in growing your team, like even just where you place your first coaches, can make a huge impact on the down the line, like income maximization that you're going to have in your business. And so it may seem like, well, why would I sign my husband up as a coach? Well, because you want him to be at the top of your downline. Well, why do I want him to be at the top of my downline? Those are things that you need to research and understand. And so this isn't a call about business structure, so I don't want to dive into that too deep. But I want you to know that in order to be a successful recruiter, you have to understand the business structure in order to explain it to other people, right? So that's my first tip, is to make sure that you understand that business structure. The second thing is to really try and figure out like why this would be a blessing in someone's life. So just like you do with your challengers, just like you recruit challengers, selling and recruiting are really the very same thing, right? So when you recruit someone into your challenge group, when you, help them get connected with a challenge pack, a lot of times your motivation is that it's going to be a life changer for that person. And so just like you have your clients with personal training, or even in your own business, maybe it's, counseling people, I don't know, whatever it is that you're doing, your motivation is that this can change their life, right? Like when I talk to a mom who tells me that she's got 50 pounds to lose and she feels awful about herself and she doesn't even want to get undressed in front of her husband because she's embarrassed about the way she looks. And, when I hear these things from her, it breaks my heart. And what do I want to do? I want to connect her with All Access Pass. I want to get her on Shakeology. I want to get her using the portion containers, because guess what? I know that it works. Do I know it's going to be hard for her? Do I know that I'm going to really have to educate her and walk with her through it? Yes. But the motivating factor is that I know it will change her life. And I know the feeling that just, security about yourself and confidence, right? And so that's what motivates me. So the same thing has to happen when we're sharing the business. We have to figure out, how is this going to bless this person's life? If you have someone in your life who you're like, I know that she wants to be home with her kids, and even if she doesn't want me to know that, even if it's like you have to peel back a million different layers to get to it, she does. And honestly, most women do. Most women, at the heart of the heart of the heart, they would love to be able to at least have a flexible work schedule. Maybe they don't want to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. That's okay, right? Because it is really hard work. Maybe they want to work on the side to have, adult interaction and that kind of thing, but they still want flexibility. They don't want to get in their car and drop off their kids at daycare at 8 a.m. and pick them up at 6 p.m. I can tell you that right now. In their heart of their hearts, they really don't want to do that. But they also don't think it's ever going to be attainable for them to have that flexible schedule. Maybe their husband's in ministry. Maybe their husband's chosen a profession that's not necessarily enough to, fully, take care of their family. And so they just think it's not even attainable. Well, you sharing this business opportunity could be a life changer for them. And you have to help them see that. And so whether that's, sharing it with them upfrontly, maybe you have that kind of relationship, maybe it's sharing through a social media post that you do, maybe it's inviting them to jump into a team call or a call that you're going to do on how you love coaching because you get to connect with all these different women, and it's just been an amazing outlet for you as a stay-at-home mom, and you look forward to connecting with women every day. I don't know, or you love having the extra money to go buy some clothes, or whatever it is for you. I know for me, it's been really cool because we just bought our house, and in the month of January, the amount that money I made was just, a little bit over our mortgage for the month. And so that's been my goal every month. It's like, I want to make enough money doing this on the side right now to at least pay for our mortgage. Obviously, my long-term goal is to be growing that because I want to be able to make this full time. But, that's something that for me is like, that gives us a lot of extra money to do things with, and, to enjoy life, maybe go on a trip, whatever. And so those are things that I can share that maybe that mom who works or that woman who they'd like to have a little extra money because they're just real tight on their budget or whatever is going to be like, hey, I want to know more about that because that's working for you and maybe that'll work for me. I was talking with one of my friends yesterday, and I'm sure you guys have seen all over like Instagram, Facebook is this new lip sense, and a lot of people are using it. It's a lip gloss type situation. And we were kind of talking about it because I had someone send me some to try out. And she was like, one of my friends is telling me, like, Whitney, you should do this. Like, you're about to go on maternity leave. This would be great for you to make some extra income while you're on maternity leave because she's planning on taking a year off. And, it got me thinking, like, why are we not like that? Like, why don't we say those things to people? I think sometimes we're scared to have those conversations, but for her, that planted a seed of like, oh my goodness, like that is something I could do when I'm on maternity leave when I'm not making any money. And, that way maybe I can grow it while I'm on maternity leave. And then maybe I don't even have to go back to work. And I mean, we're talking about lip gloss, people. Like, Beachbody is a fitness programs that are constantly evolving. People are always going to need fitness. People are always going to be looking for something else. They always need to be working out, right? And we work for a company that is constantly evolving and constantly innovating. And like my friend's thinking about selling lip gloss. Like, I love lip gloss, but let's be real. Like, Beachbody, fitness, health, like everybody needs that, right? And everybody continues to need that. And so there's going to constantly be this like revolving door of like, okay, now I want something a little harder. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do that. And so there's so much opportunity. And so if we will just kind of like take off our blinders and step outside of this comfort zone box that we put ourselves in and share this opportunity with people, we will see growth in our businesses. I think a lot of times we think that, people are scared of the time commitment, right? And so that kind of goes in my third thing is that we need to give them options and don't make assumptions. So kind of going back to what I was saying, a lot of times women will say, well, I just don't know if I can do it right now. It's a big time commitment. I am so busy. I work 50 hours a week and I don't know if I can run a challenge group. And I don't know if this is attainable for me. Right there and then you stop and you say, look, there's a lot of different ways you can do coaching. Maybe for you, it's just, hey, I'm just going to try to get 2 or 3 challengers a month to pay for my Shakeology, and invite her. Hey, you can be a part of my challenge group and bring those 3 people in and we can kind of do it together for that month or whatever. It doesn't have to be this overwhelming thing. You don't have to run the business like I run the business. Like, I'm trying to make this a full-time income. So how I work the business is going to look a little bit different than you, but that's okay. For you, it's extra income. For me, it's I'm trying to make this full-time. And so give them options. Don't just assume that because they say that they don't have time that they would just not make a great coach. Because the thing about it is sometimes people come into this and they say, I just want to be a discount coach. Maybe I'll run a challenge group. Maybe I'll just have a few people every now and then. And then they get into it. And number one, they realize how much they love it and how much they love serving other women. And then number two, they realize that there's huge opportunity here. Like, they realize that this could actually be a business and they could actually do really well with this. And they suddenly are like, I never thought I was a business person. I never thought I could sell, but I love sharing these programs with other people because they work and they've changed my life. And so give them options and don't just make assumptions, because we do that a lot and we think that we know, but we really don't. And like I said, we think that this woman loves being like, the head of HR for this massive company, and she loves being like this person. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Please don't hear me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But maybe deep down she would love to be home, or maybe deep down she would love to have more flexibility, or maybe she really would like coaching because it gives her something to look forward to during the day whenever she's just around little people all day long. Like, don't make those assumptions that people don't have the time. Give them options. So number one, understand the business structure. Got that. Boom. Number two, look at this business opportunity as a life changer. So don't just look at it as, oh, I need to get people on my team, so I need to invite. No, this is an amazing opportunity and you need to be proud of it. Number three, don't make assumptions. Give them options. Like, allow them to see the different ways that they can work this business. And number four, I want to make sure that I hit on this one, is remember that your story is impactful. And so constantly be sharing your story about coaching. Plant seeds. I try to, on social media every now and then, talk about how much I love coaching. I try to highlight different coaches on my team. I try to say things, recognize people. I try to talk about how I connected with this woman, and I'm just so glad I get to do coaching and I get to connect with these different people. Those things plant seeds. And so when we kind of sprinkle those seeds out, those things are going to cultivate. And maybe someone wouldn't be a great coach today. Maybe they're just not ready for it. But maybe 6 months from now, that little seed that you planted and that little conversation that you guys continue to have, maybe she's going to come back around and be like, hey, actually, I am interested in coaching. And so use those opportunities. Patrice did something really awesome, and she put together a video. She put it on YouTube, just a quick video talking about coaching, and she basically took everything from the sneak peek and just condensed it and put it into YouTube video. And now when she's talking to people about coaching and they want to hear maybe her story, or they want to hear more, they have questions, she can just say, hey, I just want to send this to you. You don't have to watch it. You can watch it. But it's got all this info on coaching, and I just really think you'd be great at it. It doesn't have to be pushy. It doesn't have to be salesy. It's just saying, I think this would be a cool opportunity for you. Because at the end of the day, like, the people I reach are going to be different people than you guys reach. I mean, think about all the people that live in the United States of America, okay? And we got Canada too. So, I'm like this small little percentage of people. You're like this small little percentage of people, but like, we can just continue to multiply and add to. And like, if you think about it, like, all the women out there who need to get fit and healthy, like, the obesity rate in the United States continues to double every single year. And so if you think that, fitness or Beachbody is going away, like, guys, this is just the beginning, because there is so much work to be done. And let me say this too, if you are doing this business from a faith kind of aspect, and really focused on helping people get fit and healthy for the glory of God, there's even more of a reason for you to just like continue to recruit people on your team and continue to help them like get the business going from that perspective as well. I will say this really quick, and I didn't actually put this on the list of things to talk about today, but when you're recruiting people onto your team, recruit people that you want to work with. Like, I want to work with you guys. Like, I have fun. Like, I want to have you come to my house in Nashville and hang out sometime soon. And Elizabeth, I'll get to your question. I'm sorry. I'll get to it in just a second. But I want you guys to come to my house and hang out. And I think we would have a ton of fun together. And I know that you love Jesus. And we could like wake up in the morning and do a devotional and then work out. And like, we get each other, right? Like, to me, like, it would be hard having a non-believer on my team, right? Because, although I would love to witness to them and like have that relationship, it would just be tough because like there's just like this number one thing in my life that is like the overarching thing of everything I do that would just be a disconnect, you know? And so when you think about the people that you're recruiting on your team, make sure it's people you really want to work with. Like make sure it's people that you know they're going to take this opportunity and run with it. Like if there's somebody who you're talking to and they're already dragging their feet and they're already being a negative Nancy, like if that annoys you, maybe it's better if you just say like, hey, I don't know if like this is the best fit, because there's a ton of other coaches out there and maybe they can go join their team if they really want to do this. So don't always come across so desperate. Like don't always think that just because someone's interested that you need to have them on your team, because you got to want to work with them, and you got to be okay with them asking you questions all the time and trying to help them get this business going. And so sometimes we don't talk about that and we think that we just need to recruit every person, but it honestly makes it feel a little bit more special and exclusive when you kind of put them through a series of questions and don't just say, okay, sign up today. I am so excited to have you on my team. Maybe you'll make me some money. No, that's not what it's about. It's about them going and do that duplication effect. Okay, so hit me with questions, guys. I know that was a lot of information. So Elizabeth had a question. Can you learn all that off the Beachbody Coach website? Yes. So when I'm talking about understanding the business structure, you can, and I can send you stuff. Honestly, I'm just going to be real. I love YouTube because I can read stuff, right? But like hearing it from someone's voice and hearing them say it is a lot more like, it makes the connection a lot more for me. And so I'm a big, like, I watch YouTube videos. So I literally YouTube everything, like how to use the back office. What does it mean to be a diamond coach? Like what's the most effective way to, place coaches, coach placement. I literally YouTube everything. There is also a lot of things under the files tab. If you get on Facebook, like the groups, Team Iron's Facebook, there's a lot of file tab and there's a bunch of stuff on there as well as Team Equip. So that's my favorite way. And of course, like text me and I can send you a video of one that, maybe like certain ones that I've watched that are good too. So if you're like, hey, Karen, I have a question about this. What YouTube video would you suggest? Do that because I can send that right over to you. I saw a suggestion about when you are looking to connect with people on social media that you should choose people who post things that make you think you would like to actually be friends with them. Yes, 100%. And I think Shailene talks about that a lot. But you want to think about your target consumer. Like, who's the person, like who's the ideal person that you would want to work with? And, write that out. Like some people are like, people get nitty gritty, guys. Like some people are like, I want to work with somebody who like lives in the South. Literally people get really nitty gritty, but make sure when you're adding people on Instagram and when you're connecting with them that they're the people that you want to work with, because you're targeting them for a reason. So yeah, that's perfect. Another thing to think about, really random, but I heard this the other day and I was like, that's good. But someone said, make sure your social media is so good that if you went to someone and said, would you pay $1 a month to follow me because of the content being like that informative, that they would say yes. That's good. Like, would people pay to follow me? Who knows? All right. Any other questions? Anybody? Was this helpful? Good. Okay, awesome. Yay. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got today. I'm glad this was helpful. I'll put the recording up. So if you want to share it with your teams or anything like that, you can do that. And then we'll talk next Monday. Hit me up with any questions. Bye.